Good Sunday afternoon. As many of you know, I usually color grade my footage, whether it's shot with my DSLR camera or with my Mini 4 Pro drone using Davinci Resolve. Now, if I need to do some quick color grading and editing, sometimes I won't use Davinci Resolve. I'll use LumaFusion. So in this video, I will show you how I edit and do simple color grading using LumaFusion. Incidentally, LumaFusion, I believe right now is being priced at $19 a lifetime. It is a very robust editing and color grading tool, but it does not have all of the bells and whistles that DaVinci Resolve has. So let me show you how I do it. I'm going to launch LumaFusion. The first thing that I want to do is to create a new project. I already have some projects in here. So to do that, we'll click on this plus icon here and give our project a name. I'll call this Test Edit, and then click this icon to save it. Now we have our new project displayed here. Now, to get your footage imported into LumaFusion is simply a matter of dragging and dropping. So if I were to grab a video clip off screen here and drag down to the interface, just drag it here and release. I've already done that. I'll do it again, and you'll see two of them here because I've done it already. So I'm going to grab one of these and pull it down to the timeline and click this to go to the beginning of that clip. And if I play it back, this is a shot I took from Shenandoah National Park a few months ago. Okay, so I'm going to do some light color grading on this. So with LumaFusion, a lot of things are simply double clicking. So I'm going to double click on this timeline here, and it takes me into this section. Now, down below, you'll see some icons. If you click on them, they'll tell you what they do. So let's begin from left to right, and let's click on that first one. This is where you can do frame and fit. And what that does, allows you to get your footage to fit into the frame. If you need to, you can come here to do that. You can also do some cropping. So if I pull this to the left, you'll notice that the left side of the screen will crop in or crop that part of the video. Top, right, bottom, and you can make your edges softer by doing that. That's a pretty cool effect. And you have a corner radius like that. Also, you can do positioning where, for example, if I want to do a position X, see, I can move this over like that. By default, it's always set to 0, and position Y up and down. Below that, we have size. You can increase the size of the footage here. You can reduce it, increase it to zoom in. You have size X. You can stretch it out, and you have size Y. Stretch it up vertically. You can also rotate the clip by orienting this like this, or using these arrows. By default, this is set to 0. And you also have blending. This is simply your opacity, as you see. I always keep it at 100. Next icon is the speed and reverse. Let's say if you have some footage of, say, cars or some moving object, but you want it to go in the reverse. This is where you do it. So once you select this, you come over here and you select the speed at which you want that object to go in the opposite direction. And I rarely even use this feature. The next one is stabilize. And if you have footage that is not stable, you can come here and select this icon and turn on lock and load stabilization, and this will help you to stabilize your video footage. Now, in my experience, this is okay, but it is not the best. It is best to have your video stabilization done with the device you're shooting the video footage with, namely a camera or, say, a drone. The next one here is for audio, and this is nice because in here you can see we pull down this configuration. We can select stereo or pull this down and do fill from left, fill from right. I normally keep it at stereo, and I have my ducking set to auto. Under gain, you can actually increase the audio levels. Now, there are several ways you can increase the audio gain on your videos. This is one of them. So if you move this slider back and forth, you see this right here moves. So the way this works here is that if you have a piece of footage that has audio in it, just come here and click play, and then play with this knob here, and you'll see this gain bar go up and down. You don't want your audio to be up in the red area. You want it somewhere in the yellow. I'm going to put this back at the default of 0 decibels. There's a pan feature that I rarely even use. That's keep it at center. And there's a graphic equalizer, which comes in very handy if you want to change the sound of your voice, give it more bass or treble or midtones. And you can also create presets here. So once you say find levels that you're happy with, you click on this icon here and you give it a name, and then you click on this icon again and it saves it. So all these are set to flat. Let's say if I want more bass in my voice, I would increase that and lower or bring up the midtones, say something like that. And you see this graph here, it's modifying itself as you make your changes here. And let's say if you're happy with that, to save this as a preset so you don't have to go back here and do this again, simply click on this star icon, give this a name. I will call it test, and then click on the icon above there, and it's saved up here under test. The next icon I use primarily for color grading, and it's called color and palette. There's a lot in here. So let's move over to this one, and here we have the original, and I usually begin here. I'll click original. Now within this color palette, you have a lot of options you can choose from. I'm going to pick one at random. Let's say this one here, you want to warm this up. So if you select that, see what it does? It warms up that video footage. But I don't want that, so I'm going to hit the go back icon here. And you can also go over to the right of the color presets, and you have one here, and there are use your LUTs. So let's say if you took a particular piece of footage with a Sony camera, you can find the LUT for that camera and import it into LumaFusion. Let's say if you took some video footage with your drone and you shot that video footage with D-Log M color profile, well, you can import the DJI D-Log M LUT into LumaFusion and use that. So I have one here already. So even though this was taken with my A6700 camera, if I were to apply this LUT to this footage, look what happens. See there? That doesn't look bad. And once you apply this LUT, you can come in here and even do more color grading to it. So since I'm not going to use this, I'm going to hit this go back button down here at the bottom. Okay, and there's more. If you go to the right of this user LUT icon, there's another one. And I don't even play around in here unless I want to apply a vignette to a piece of footage. Let's say I want to apply a vignette. I have 3 options here that they give me. I'm going to select the first one. It applies a vignette around the video footage. Now you come down here under intensity and you move the slider bar to get it right where you want it, and even the radius. So since I'm not going to do that, I'm going to hit the back out button and go back to my default. Okay. If you scroll down even further, you can invert this, and I don't play around with some of this stuff because it's just really crazy looking. And all kinds of effects you can apply to your video footage. On this next icon, this teardrop, click on this. This way you can apply blurring and even sharpness. Now, I always apply a little bit of sharpness to my video footage. That's my personal preference. I can do that here in LumaFusion. So once this is selected, I can scroll down and find sharpen right here. I have three options. So if I select the first one, see some sharpness was applied to this. If there's too much, I can bring this slider down while observing the video footage. Or if I want to apply more sharpness, I can move this over to the right. Okay. So right now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hit the go back button here. And to the right of this teardrop icon is another one where you have all kinds of crazy special effects. And I don't play around in this section. Let me show you why. Let's say if I select this one here. That's nuts. I'm not playing around with that kind of stuff. Or this one. Okay. What is that? But I suppose it does serve a purpose for a particular video footage. I can't find one. So I'm not going to use that. So I'm going to hit the back button here and go back to my original. And to the right of that, we have this key icon. And this gives us some color and luminous keying. I don't play around in there either. I normally play around in with the color presets and teardrop where I can apply some sharpness. So let's go back to the presets and I'm under original, and you know that because there's a check mark there, and I'm going to pull this down original. Now this is how I do it. Now look at my footage and determine whether I need to increase the levels or decrease them. Well, I can do that at the top here. So I'll grab the one in the middle here and move it left and right about where I like it. That's good. Does need any more brightness or darkening? Well, under brightness I can move this left or right. I think right now it looks okay at 0. If I want to add more contrast, I can play with the contrast levels here. I'll bring contrast up just slightly. Saturation. With any saturation and vibrance, you want to be careful with that because you can oversaturate and add too much vibrance. So I'll add a little bit of saturation in the footage by playing around with this slider. Look at the clouds there in the background. So I think that looks about right. With the vibrance, again, I want to be careful with some of these. I'm looking at the foreground and the clouds at the same time. And I think that looks good about right there. Highlight and shadow radius, I'll leave it at 0. The shadow amount, on occasion, I will play with this one. So notice what happens here. In this case, I think about 0.09 looks good. I rarely play around with the RGB settings. That's a red, green, and blue. Gamma, sometimes. I'll show you why. Let's play around with gamma here. Let's move this left. Let's move it right. I find in most of my video footage when I'm editing and color grading in LumaFusion, gamma set to 0 is just fine. The hues, that's subjective. Let me show you. If I play around with that, so you can play around with the tint a little bit. And notice down here in the trees, notice how it brings out some of the color in the trees. So if you know that this was shot, say, on a fall day and it's not showing up, you can play with your hues. See, to bring some of that out. But as you do that, be mindful of the other colors in the footage here. Just bring this up just a little bit, about right in there, okay? And I don't mess with tint. So that's what I do under original. Now, next I'll go over to this teardrop, and I want to add a little bit of sharpening to this footage. So I'm going to select that and come down and select the first option for sharpen, this one, and click on that. And that places it below original. And here, you only get one slider. You can either reduce the sharpness or increase it. But if you go to the far right, we see more sharpness coming out in the footage. And that's about all I do with regards to the color grading. Now, to go back out, click this icon here, upper left-hand corner, and it takes us back out to our timeline. And here's our footage. If I were to play that back, that looks pretty good. Now, with regards to dissecting up the video footage, I'm going to advance this. I'm playing around with my mouse, moving it to the right. Then down here at the bottom, you have a lot of options. This scissors icon here allows you to cut a piece of footage. So I'm going to place my cursor right there, click on that scissors icon, select what I don't want, then click trash, gone. And we can go forward. And let's say right here in the middle, I'm going to split the video footage because I want to show you how to apply a transition. I'm going to cut it right there. Then right here, we have an icon that has a circle with a plus icon in it. If we select that, we can add a transition. So let's do that. A transition is applied. Now, what type of transition is this? To find out, you can look and see that it is a cross resolve. You don't have to use a cross resolve. I use lots of cross resolves. You can tick on this icon right here. This is a folder with a star on it, and this shows you all of your other transitions that you can use. And there's a lot in here. So to overwrite what's already there, let's say if I want to use this starburst, I will select that. You then click off of that. Now that starburst transition has been applied to the footage. Let's go back to this one and put it back on cross resolve. We'll select that. Tick on that folder with the star on it. And let's select cross resolve. Then click off of it. And the cross resolve transition has been reapplied. Or let's do one more. You didn't really see that, but it was there. Let's select the transition and let's do what is called a dip. This one here. And let's go back and let's play the video footage over. Okay. And you can apply these transitions in the beginning or in the end. Now, there are ways you can decrease and increase the duration of the transitions. The first way is you can select the transition. Then you have these handles here, and you can move these. And notice as I move them right above here, it tells you the duration in seconds. So we have 1 second there, 2 seconds. Another way is to come down to the lower right-hand corner and select this gear with a question mark inside of it. And you can select your transition by default. So if I put this at 1 second, every transition that I apply to the video footage will be 1 second. But still, once it's applied, you can come here and increase the duration. I'm going to put this back at 2 seconds. Okay. And let's apply a transition in the beginning of the footage by selecting it. Click on this icon here and select transition. And now we have a transition in the beginning of the footage. Let's go to the end of the video. I'm clicking on these icons here. Select that piece of footage right there. Make sure it's at the end. Then do the same thing. Click on this icon and apply a transition. Now we have a transition at the end of the video. Now, what about text? Let's apply some text at the end of the video. First, select your video footage. Then click on this icon here and select Overlay Title. Scroll over this piece right here. And I'm going to stretch this out to the end right there, like that. So this right here is even with what's below it. Then I'm going to add a title. That is, replace this. All you have to do is double click on that, and then double click on the text here, and it brings this up. It will change it. And if you click off of this, down this area right here, we can come over here and pull this down, and we can change the size. You can change the font by clicking on this icon here. And I'm going to select American Typewriter just to show you here. American Typewriter Regular. Okay. Just bring this down a little bit more. You can also change the color of that by going to face color here. Let's say make it a yellow, or I can use the palette here to change the colors. I'm going to select white and click off of that and go back out to the timeline by clicking on this icon right here. Now I can apply a transition even to this. Oh, I should say, suppose you want to move this around. Let's go back in here and make sure that this is selected, and you can just move this. Just grab it with your mouse and move it around. You can also use this icon here to center it. So if I pull this down and do that, select this middle one, it centers it right in the middle of the screen. These other arrows here will move it, say, down, left, right, up, but we'll place it right in the center, like that. Okay, so now let's go back out to the timeline by selecting this icon, and let's apply a transition to our text. So I'm going to click on this one here to take me to the beginning of this. Then come down, select the icon here, and apply a transition. There it is. Then go to the end of this one. I'm going to click this until I'm at the end of it. Come down to our icon and select a transition. Now we have a transition applied to the text. Let's play this back. Okay. Now, this tutorial is not uh, extensive. It's just something simple. Now, the last thing I want to show you is how do I apply audio to my video footage if I choose to do so. Well, you need to import some audio footage into LumaFusion in the same manner that you imported your video footage. Simply find an MP3 file and drag it onto the interface here. I already have two in here, so I'm going to select, say, this one here and place it underneath. Now you notice down here, up here, I can place more video clips because that icon there shows. Let me show you. If I grab this one and place it here, that's reserved for video clips. And there's another one there. If I drag another one, it gives me another option above that to put more video clips, but that's for another video. So let's delete that one and delete that one. Now below the video is where all your audio clips will go. So I'm going to grab my audio or my MP3 file and place it beneath the video footage. And I can tell you right now that it's going to be pretty loud because of the waveform. So let's play this back. Let's see how let's see how this is spiking. Let's stop that and go back to the beginning. Now, what you can do, there are several ways to bring the audio levels down to a comfortable level. The easiest way is to come over here and you'll see an icon right here. Tick on that. And if you come right over to the left, right here, we can modify the level. You can also do it right here. So let's play this back. And I'm going to bring this down right here while observing the bar here. And the waveform will also go down. I don't like blurring my viewers' ears off, so I typically have my audio levels set, as is for music, a little bit lower than usual, somewhere in that area, or even lower. Or you could just grab this and move it up. Another way you can do this is to double click on the audio waveform and it takes you into your audio setting. See down here? And you can decrease your gain or increase your gain. And see how the audio level drops down? I find it much easier to do it out here. Now, if there's audio in your video, you'll play around with this one here. Okay. Now, as you can see here, the audio clip is longer than the video on the timeline. So what you have to do here is go back at this point, make sure that the audio clip is selected, then click on that scissors icon. And I'm going to take it out just a little bit more, like right in, let's say here. That's just my style. Then let's cut this off right here. Select this part out here, then tick on the trash icon. And let's apply a transition or fade out right here. So there are several ways to do it. The easiest way, since this is an easy video, supposed to be anyway, is to apply a transition. Select this icon and do a transition. And we can make this longer, so let's do this. Let's get rid of that. And I'm going to come over here and make this a 4-second fade out. And let's reapply that. Okay. And let's go back to the beginning of the audio. And I don't want a 4-second, I want to say a 2-second. So I'll go here and let's make this a 2-second fade in. And select the audio clip and select transition. Okay, and that's it. If I were to play all this back, there we go. Let's slow it down right here. Okay. Now, since I have you, I want to try something else here. On the video clip, I'm going to remove all of the wind noise that you hear in it, and that's simply taking this one here, so this is in alignment with the video clip, and moving it all the way down. Now let's play it back. Well, that's it. That's how I edit and color grade in LumaFusion for a quick edit and a quick color grade without having to use Davinci Resolve. Now, Davinci Resolve, like I said previously, is more robust, and I prefer to use that. But when I'm in a hurry and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time playing around with Davinci Resolve, LumaFusion is my second go-to. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I apologize for it being lengthy, but I like being thorough. So this is Ron from Miles World. You guys take care.